Hi, konnichiwa. My name is Asami. Hobbies never forget their old hobbies, right? Even after decades of leaving the hobby, you can quickly return to it with love and passion, even more enthusiastic than before. Jamwon is a great system I'm implementing and showing you all to bring these goals back to life in your life. For me, it's calligraphy. I bought my first calligraphy set when I was in junior high school. I saw it displayed in a glass shelf and thought, wow, how cool it would be to write with those pens and ink. So I purchased it, and guess what? I didn't do anything with it. I probably tried a couple of times, but I couldn't figure out how to use them, so I quickly gave up. It's been more than a decade since then, and I've picked up calligraphy again. But this time, I actually understand how to use the pens. Thanks to YouTube, Instagram, and modern technology. I see so many artists on YouTube and Instagram doing calligraphy. Their writing is absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. I totally admire them and their work, but I want to do something a little different because I want to find my own unique voice rather than just competing in the same field as them. I'll likely never be as good as the pros, but if I'm decent and jump in some other things into it that I know I can do better than them, then I'll be sidestepping the whole competition and will be the master of whatever the new niche becomes. This is my thinking. It's extremely common in the business world, which is like the exact opposite of the artist world, so I want to show it works amazingly for hobbyists like myself too. In my first video, I mentioned I'd experiment with some different calligraphy styles, so I purchased some great tools to try those styles for this challenge. I think these are among the best you can get, so if you're interested in calligraphy, definitely trust me and go grab some. Link in the description. As I tried these new calligraphy styles, I did some research first because it had been more than a decade since I last used broad nibs. So I had the thought, while as hobbyists were away from our old hobbies, the world has drastically changed, especially if we've not touched them for years like me. There are new tools out there, and technology is evolving constantly, making it even easier to experiment and grow than when you last tried. So it's a waste not to give it another go. A huge one is YouTube itself. For example, I discovered Jake Weidman. He is, if I remember correctly, the youngest master penman. His art pieces are stunning. I got inspiration from his work for this challenge, but decided to add more to it. I then went on Instagram and found an interesting post. It's this one. The artist's name is Chun Li. He's an artist and tattooist, I think. It's a Chinese character or Japanese character, but it's written in a broad nib style like Gothic. As a Japanese person, calligraphy means something different to me than it does in Western traditions. We use a brush instead of a metal pen to write, and we write vertically, not horizontally. I want to somehow blend Western and Asian calligraphy in the final project, like I did with character design in the last episode, so his photos are a great reference for that. Technology isn't the only thing evolving. Books are too. We now have access to so many calligraphy books that weren't available in the 1990s. I recently got my hands on these beautiful books. These books not only teach basic writing skills but also offer wonderful examples of projects. It's rare to find books that are this useful. Okay, here's the rough image for this challenge. I'm going to use this pen holder and nibs from the manuscript Leonardo No. 2 round-hand set, the Chinese calligraphy brush set I purchased on Amazon, Zilla's Soot Black ink in this cute ink holder which I purchased on Etsy, and Colilo color watercolor paints. I've got rose gold, red brown, Inca gold, Caribbean, cobalt blue, and vibrant purple. I also printed out the rough image at Officeworks so that I can trace it on the paper. As a hobbyist, it's difficult to completely give up a hobby you've lost your passion for. Although you are not actively doing the hobby anymore, you still want to hold on to the tools. I kept my first nibs for over 20 years, even though I didn't use them, because I always thought I might use them one day. The truth is that they never really came. It's not a bad idea to keep them, but it's probably better to buy new tools when you return to your hobby. because the old ones will just occupy precious space in your closet. For hobbyists, saving space for new hobbies is a critical issue. We add hobbies as easily as we breathe, and there's no space left for the old ones. Moreover, it's really exciting to buy new tools when returning to an old hobby. Your tools will naturally improve and upgrade over the course of a decade, and you'll find more options as well. For example, I've never seen this kind of pen and holder I used for my first project back in 1990s in Japan. This cute ink holder I purchased on eBay didn't exist back then either. Even these pens are very similar to my first ones, but they are not the same. Every single pen has its own reservoir, whereas my first pens shared one reservoir. So yeah, you can throw away tools that you don't use after a year or two. Once you return to your old hobby, you can go on the internet and research what others are doing, discover new methods, and find new things you want to try. When I picked up calligraphy again, I found many different kinds of writing styles, inks, pens, and paints that I had never tried before. Or you can try jamming your other hobbies, like blending reading books with calligraphy. One of my viewers wanted to combine yoga and painting. The possibilities are endless. Okay, I'm almost done with this artwork, but I'm still not convinced with this design at the bottom. So I'm gonna try something new on my iPad and see what happens. What I'm doing in this video is trying to jam different styles of calligraphy, writing, and drawing into a single masterpiece. I call this method micro-jamming because both of them are more or less in the same art field. I'm good at them, but I'm not a master of them. I want to become a master at combining them, or a master of combining the hobbies I have. This is Jam 1, Jack of all trades, Master of one. I'll do macro jamming, which is combining different fields of art into a masterpiece in the next video. So keep watching. I almost forgot the Little Princess golden muffler. So I completed the artwork. It is created entirely using calligraphy, blending Japanese calligraphy with Western calligraphy. I drew a fox inspired by the fox from The Little Prince and intended to incorporate flourishes, which were influenced by Jake Whiteman's work. The Japanese kanji I wrote with a large Chinese brush is taisetsu, meaning essential. I chose this kanji based on a line from The Little Prince. "Goodbye," said the fox. "And now, here is my secret, a very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eyes." I split this quote into two parts. For the first part, I used Spencerian script, which I wrote around the fox in gold watercolor paint. The second part, written beneath the fox, is in Gothic script, using the same paint. Finally, I added the Little Princess golden muffler around the fox to symbolize their friendship. Not happy. I wanted to use the flourishes more effectively, and I wish I could have incorporated Japanese characters in a more creative way. The artwork looks too busy with random flourishes. It feels like I just crammed everything I wanted in without any real plan, even though I made a rough image beforehand. The only plus side I see is my calligraphy leveled up. What do you think? I still have one more chance to get this right in my final project next video. I'm not giving up. See you then.